What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, October 21st, 2018. First off, if you're like new to this channel or you're just coming across this video and you're like, what is this dude talking about, $200,000 Bitcoin? If it completely bothers you, just hit the just hit the dislike button. Just hit it. Just go ahead. But there is really good context and historical data to what we're talking about. This isn't necessarily a video on like me saying we're going to $200,000 Bitcoin by this time, but really interesting topic of conversation to talk about in terms of Bitcoin halving and really this long-term trend in Bitcoin. It plays really nicely, $200,000 Bitcoin. I want to say, if you're a Litecoin lover, I do have a Litecoin halving video that I've recorded, and I will be uploading that later tonight. So you can check that out. What's up, everybody? Rob, what's up, Rob? Steven Herzog. Man, we've got the Litecoin fam is here. What's up, Tech Lords? Love you, Tech Lords. Thanks for coming by. Everybody, thanks for coming by on this Sunday. Thank you. I'm going to get started in a second. If you're a replay viewer, you can just hop over to a timestamp when we kind of get started. You know me. I like to wait a couple minutes, but I will definitely have a timestamp for replay viewers. I will, just to kill some time, this tweet was... I just tweeted this earlier because it just was like really cool. I did a video yesterday about venture capitalism, about taking a risk, you and I, as little mini VCs. And this popped up today. I started kind of reading into this, Brian Acton, and here it is. This is Brian Acton tweet, basically in 2009. Facebook turned me down. It was great. It was a great opportunity to connect with some fantastic people. Looking forward to life's next adventure. So 2009, this guy, Brian Acton, applies to Facebook, and I believe Twitter as well. Got rejected. They didn't hire him. So I guess he just ventured out, created a little thing called WhatsApp. And then you can see it. He sold WhatsApp to Facebook for $19 billion 5 years later in 2014. No often doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means you were meant for something better, right? Ain't that the truth? In so many ways. But I will say this. Sonic Luxury, thanks for the subscribe. You're awesome. I will say this. It's a perfect representation of like you and I, right? In this crazy, hectic, volatile space, this unknown, risky thing called cryptocurrency that is catching on. Let's face it, it's catching on. We have a lot of money coming in, getting ready to come in. But there's a lot of haters out there kind of saying no, saying this isn't going to work. Even family and friends maybe for you. And it's a perfect example of nobody knows. Even the smartest people at Facebook didn't see the talent that Brian brought to the table, and they just rejected it. And same thing goes for this space. This is why we're risk takers. So figured I'd start out talking about that as we got some people. I see John Morris here. What's up, John? So good to see you, man. So good. I see you everywhere with your videos. Just killing it for Litecoin adoption. What's up, David B, Chris Jones, Aid Key, Dinesh, Josh, Capitalize 777. So if you're just getting here, I do have a Litecoin halving video I just recorded. Will be up a few hours from now, probably sometime this evening, so you can check that out. But we're going to talk about it. Let's start. Let's start for context. Let's a little bit into the Bitcoin halving and what it could mean by price. When I really laid it out in the zoomed out chart, it was actually really pretty interesting to see what happened in the last Bitcoin halvings and this ultimate long-term trend line in Bitcoin. It's pretty crazy to watch and really interesting to see if it happens continuously. So let's start here. A little bit of history. This is from, I think, to May. Yeah, this was May earlier in the year, but it's nice context to the video. Bitcoin is less than a decade old, thus history might not paint a complete picture. However, historical patterns and trends are an excellent place to begin price analysis. Amen to that. Both halving events have happened before significant bull runs. Whether the price rallies occurred as a consequence of the block reward reduction is unknown. A year after the 2012 halving, Bitcoin price rose to $1,000 in November. At the time, it was the highest ever recorded price for the number one cryptocurrency. A year after the 2016 halving, Bitcoin also reached another record milestone. Bitcoin prices rallied to an all-time high of $19,500 in mid-December 2017, and you all remember that. What's crazy if you can like put yourself in the perspective of being a 2012 investor, where like even the thought of, you know, trading in the thousands, right, was amazing. And now here we are as 2018 investors. And the thought of trading at a $200,000 Bitcoin is pretty amazing, right? And it just kind of goes to show that it's all about perspective. When you're living in the moment, you can never even fathom the possibilities. And I think Bitcoin is a perfect example of that. You can't fathom the possibilities. And that's why it's really good not to expect anything in the space. So we're going to look at the chart in context to the $200,000 Bitcoin and the possible reality of that in the coming years. But before we do, let's kind of finish up this article. If there's indeed any correlation between halving and price, it might lie in the former's effect on hash rate and stability. In a nutshell, the question isn't how halving might affect prices, but how it might affect miners. Reduction in block reward means a decrease in revenue for miners, especially if the mining difficulty remains significantly unchanged. A lot depends on the price of Bitcoin in the months leading up to the halving, as well as the transaction volume on the network. Miners earn fees for facilitating transactions in addition to the block rewards for their mining efforts. If Bitcoin prices rise high enough to offset whatever the halving might cause in revenue drop, then the odds are that hash rate will not change significantly. If Bitcoin prices rise high enough to offset whatever the halving might cause in revenue drop, then the odds are that hash rate will not change significantly. So you can see these last couple halvings that played out nicely in terms of price rising and in terms of basically hash rate and mining rewards, and it didn't affect miners crazily, right? Because of the price going up. So here are some quotes that we can use. Cryptocurrency markets are often very event driven, and as we get closer to the next halving, Bitcoin's price will receive a boost from those anticipating the forthcoming reduction in new supply. In the months leading up to the last two halving events, we saw Bitcoin's price steadily trend upward and then power higher following the reward halving. And we're going to look at that right now. Miners have historically shown a willingness to maintain or increase computing power through halving. Thanks, Underwhelmed Less, for the subscribe. Miners have historically shown a willingness to maintain or increase computer power through halving events because they expect future Bitcoin price increases to offset the reduced block reward. In other words, miners are cool. They're cool with the increase in computing power through the halving events because the price is going to go up in Bitcoin. And it has thus far in terms of the last couple halvings. And so you can actually see it's like first off in this article, and thanks 19541975 for the subscribe. I love that username. So you can see these, and I'll try and zoom in maybe on this screen a little bit so you can see that. But the last two halvings, so here's 2012 halving. Here's the following year in price. There's the price spike to $1,000. 2000, and then we had the consolidation, right? We had that, and here we can actually look at it on the chart. So here is the consolidation after that rise to $1,000. This is that bear market that we always talk about in our videos. It's right here. And so here's that 2012 halving. And then let's go back to this chart real quick. And then here's the 2016 halving, and then the year following, 2017 price spike. So now let's go over here. So we have three halvings to talk about. We have the 2012 halving. That's number one. We have the 2016 halving. Thanks, Edit Name, for the subscribe. I can't believe you weren't subscribed already, Edit Name. And here's number three. That's the halving in 2020 that everybody's talking about. Thanks, S.Y. Lennon, for the subscribe. I got to thank you all. I can't not thank you all. So check it out. Let's bring out our little price range and talk about halving and price, because that's literally that's all the context that we have. Poseidon Lou with a 0.19 Litecoin donation. Thank you so much, my bro. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So price range, first halving, you can see, and actually we can actually even note this is the weekly chart. After that first halving, it's not like we mooned or anything right away, right? Bitcoin didn't do much. You can see the weekly candles not moving much. And then all of a sudden we get this move. So from that halving to that new all-time high, We're talking about 10,000%. Love a Flutter. Thank you for the subscribe. And then from this last halving in 2016, right, and basically what's interesting is it really is kind of at that tail end of the bear market. So from 2016 halving to our all-time high that year later, 3,200% increase after that halving. So you see the trend, right? You see these trends in these halvings. So now let's take this into context in terms of what the future might hold for us. Thank you, Speed Junkies 12. Thank you all for subscribing during this live stream. It's awesome. I'm telling you, it gives me like a little organic, natural boost of energy every time I see these subscribes. Farkback, thank you for the subscribe. So first off, I do want to point something out, not to be like a buzzkill or anything, but you can see after we reached all-time highs, after that first one, we had that long drawn out consolidation that we talk about all the time, this bear market leading up to that next halving. So we still have a good amount of time until this next halving, this third halving right here. And so the question is, are we going to have like a similar long drawn out consolidation process? I think at this point there is so much going on, so many more influential things, even besides the halving happening right now in terms of big institutional money coming in, getting ready to come in, partnerships, mainstream adoption, it's all happening. And I think it might even be more powerful than the halving, right? These things weren't happening back here, these huge things in terms of adoption and mainstream money coming in. Anthony and Alice, thank you for the subscribes, both of you. So, but now they are happening. So perhaps that could play in differently to the price right now for Bitcoin in terms of a move up. Giggles and Games, thank you. Thank you for the subscribe. But let's look at it. Let's look at, even if we had a 3,000% increase, similar to after that last halving, let's look at what happens. Thank you, Richard, for the subscribe. So here we go. 3,000, and this is also based on if price did not move from where we are today by 2020 at the next halving, which impossible to know where price will be then. I'm going to use for context of this video today's price. That's probably way off, but let's do it. Let's see where 3,000% gains would bring us. And there you go. 3,000% gains bring us right to the top of this long-term trend line. Look at that. I mean, if that's not synergistic in terms of the long-term move of Bitcoin, then I don't know what is, right? So there it is. 3,000% gains, similar to 3,000% gains at that last halving, from this halving, brings us, boom, $200,000 Bitcoin. The question I think that is most important to ask ourselves, thanks Brian Williams, subs are mooning. It really is. I appreciate everybody subbing, and like I get the little noise on my screen and it's impossible for me not to say thank you. If it annoys anybody watching, I apologize, but these people are awesome. So I think what's important in terms of everything that we have, this is all just data, historical data, it's future possible data. Emengal, thank you for subscribing. This is it. This is what we use all this data for. It's from where we are now to this point. And there is so much happening besides halving in this square that you see on the screen. And technical analysis, in my opinion, plays a huge role in telling this story. It plays a huge role in understanding how you personally and myself personally are going to basically eye up our risk tolerance and continue accumulating in this little box leading up to this halving, leading up to a potential $200,000 Bitcoin. But I just want to say, in this green box, in this unknown area, right, all that we can do is anticipate different things and be ready on how we're going to move, how we're going to invest, how we're going to accumulate, and also keep our mental states in check. It's easy to get mental in this space. It's easy to get emotional in this space, but it's so important. Thanks, Crypto Nugs, for the subscribe. It's so important to just get emotion out of the game and get ready. Get your fiat ready. Get whatever you need to be ready. So what could happen leading up to that JN, thanks for the subscribe. What could happen leading up to this next halving? And here's the next halving right here. A lot. And for me personally, based on technical analysis, I don't think we're going to go, and you've seen me do a lot of videos on this little green box you see on the screen. I don't think we're going to go below like $4,000. I don't. I think we found kind of our bottom channel. We might see $4,000 leading up to this next halving. But at the same time, we might see below it. So whether it's $4,000, whether it's where we are now, around $6,000, just be ready to accumulate as best you feel comfortable, because what happens within this box, which is basically it. I mean, it sounds like a lot, right? What is this? It's like May 2020. It sounds like a lot of time between now and May 2020, but it's really not. It's going to happen like that. And now is the time, in my opinion, this is not financial advice, to accumulate. And that means being ready to accumulate at $4,000. It means being ready to accumulate at $3,000. I don't think we're going to get there, but it means being ready to. However, I do truly believe that a $200,000 Bitcoin in this long-term uptrend is completely possible. Remember, there's only going to ever be 20 million Bitcoin. And that's the end of the story. And that's, with all this money coming in, with all the impact that Bitcoin is going to have on the global economy, moving money, 20 million, that's not a lot, right? It's just not. I know it's 21 million, but I'm rounding down, if that's okay. 21 million. So I guess my point is, if you want to be a part of that 21 million, then be prepared to accumulate, because I think now, I mean, personally, I wasn't here accumulating in 2014 at the bottom. I just wasn't. And maybe you were. I wish I was, though. I wasn't here accumulating, back when Bitcoin was created. I wasn't mining Bitcoin. And now we're in this time where we know that it's being adopted, right? We see really, really incredible, smart VCs getting in on Bitcoin, getting ready to get into Bitcoin. We see Fidelity has been mining Bitcoin since 2015. Do you think they're not doing that because they see the long-term value? It's all about money for these people. It's all about money. They wouldn't be planning on getting into Bitcoin at a $6,000 Bitcoin just for the fun of it, because they want to just take part in a cool technology. They're literally getting into it because money means everything to them. It literally is their business model. If they're not killing it with gains, they're not interested. And so what do you think it means when Backed, owned by ICE, is being created? When Fidelity is mining Bitcoin since 2015? What do you think that means? It means that 3,000% gains from a $6,000 Bitcoin, completely possible, completely reasonable. Not out of the question. We're talking about scarcity, major scarcity. And really cool to think that when you go out there and you just talk to your everyday person, you go to the store and you bring up crypto and Bitcoin, it's really the most powerful thing. Don't be discouraged when people don't know what it is. Tausif Ali, thank you for the subscribe. Don't be discouraged when people don't know what it is, because it is the single best illustration of the opportunity that you have at hand. And I'm not trying to influence you to make a decision and accumulate. This is not financial advice. Thanks, Jalgi, for subscribe. But I'm simply just trying to put out there the powerful opportunity that's at hand. I did a video yesterday. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Jessica Leon, thank you for the subscribe. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to act as a VC, to act as a long-term investor, and to diversify your portfolio, right? Jonathan Shep, thanks for subscribe. Diversify your portfolio away from the traditional, the boring, the big banks. Talk to John Moore about the big banks. This is it. This is an incredible opportunity for all of us. And I just can't discount it. Andrew Neal, thank you for the subscribe. So that's it. I mean, I know the title of the video is pretty crazy, $200,000 Bitcoin. It seems pumpy. It seems like I'm shilling Bitcoin, but it's completely, Asif Ali, thank you for the subscribe. It's completely reasonable. It's completely in play. Just as that halving that happened, like Bitcoin's at like it's at a $30 Bitcoin. Imagine if I was back there talking about the halving. Josh, thank you for the subscribe. Can you imagine if I was back in 2012 doing a YouTube video about the halving, talking about $1,000 Bitcoin, and we're trading at like $30? Ivan Nunca, thank you for the subscribe. We're talking, I would be doing a YouTube on 10,000% gains. People would be calling me crazy because at the time people were talking about Bitcoin's a joke, right? Could you imagine if in 2016 I was doing a YouTube video talking about the 2016 halving? Get ready for the halving because we might see around a $20,000 Bitcoin because of this halving. People would be thinking I'm crazy if I had a $20,000 Bitcoin thumbnail on a YouTube video in 2016. And similarly, I'm sure this video may get some dislikes because I'm doing a YouTube video now with a thumbnail that says $200,000 Bitcoin. Carlos B, thanks for the subscribe. And so I just want to say, at the end of the day, there is risk in this space, but there is so much going on besides the halving that it just sets us up for incredible gains besides the halving. And yes, miners are hoping for a $200,000 Bitcoin as well. Jimmy says, when is this happening? Mogul of hip hop, what's up, and thank you for the subscribe. So this is in 2020, the next halving. That's what we're talking about. And you can see it. You can see it here. 578 days. 578 days away till the Bitcoin halving. The whole point is every time after the last halving, with historical data that we have, we've seen crazy, crazy gains. And so I think it's very realistic to anticipate some more crazy, crazy gains. Big Boned, thanks for the subscribe. Junie, $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Junie, you said it, having the unspoken truth. I love it. Litecoin halving first. Agreed, says D Cigar. Litecoin halving is first. You can see it on the screen. Here's Litecoin. This is the weekly chart. Let's expand this a little bit. I'm trying. Here's Litecoin. There's the last halving. This line over here back in August 2015. The last halving. Here's the next halving. August 2019, coming quicker than the Bitcoin halving. What will it mean? I don't know. It took some time. You can see it took more than a year for Litecoin to move. And that might be because it was waiting for Bitcoin to have its move, right? A year after its halving. And the same thing might happen with Litecoin. So it might take 2 years for Litecoin to make its next crazy parabolic move. So the other thing that I do want to point out, and then we can end the video, is really to talk about something which we all hate. I personally don't like it, which is patience. Patience. Because this chart brings us to like 2021. We're not talking about, next week we're getting a $200,000 Bitcoin possibly, or any type of parabolic move. We're talking about 2021. We're talking about a year after, similar to historical data that we have on the last halvings. A year after we got our nice moves, right? A year after the halving. And then for us, 2020, a year after the halving. And in terms of the time frame that we have until then, two things. And I'll leave the video here. Number one, patience. Patience. But that's the name of the game. If you're starting a business, it's the name of the game. Patience and hard work, right? So for Bitcoin, for Litecoin, this is not financial advice. Patience and accumulation. The fact that it's kind of a bittersweet thing. I know we all want this space to grow quick, but it's bittersweet. The fact that we have to wait. The fact that we can go to the supermarket and talk to somebody about crypto and they don't know what it is. That's pretty sweet, because that means during this time frame, before they're forced to know what it is, we have the opportunity, the powerful opportunity to invest, to accumulate at these levels. Suppo man. Don't trust any of the useless tokens I shill and promote. I know I'm using you all. I'm ashamed deep down. Just stick to Bitcoin. This is the truth. I I feel like I don't understand that comment. I really don't. I don't think that's really Superman. Dogecoin. Dude, by the way, we have 434 people in here. Thank you everybody for coming by. Appreciate you. If you're a replay viewer and you're just sticking around and watching, thank you. Really appreciate all of you. Poseidon Lou says $3,000 to $4,000 Litecoin if Bitcoin is at $200,000. That's a nice assessment, Poseidon Lou. I knew I could count on you to throw some numbers out. So yes, so back to, so Litecoin, and I have a Litecoin video that I'm going to upload a little bit later tonight talking about the halving as well. And you can see it, even if it takes till 2021, my goodness, the gains that can happen in this area after the Litecoin halving, after the Bitcoin halving. And right now we're trading at a $50 Litecoin. It's one of the best opportunities I could think of. And there's so many people out there just trading stocks. There's so many people out there trading cryptocurrencies, and there's great opportunity to do that. There's a ton of money you can make trading, but it's risky business. Accumulation, in my opinion, is a way more conservative approach. Buying dips in cryptocurrency right now, buying the dip in this box leading up to the halving, that is the most conservative, that is the safest thing I think you could do in terms of investing in cryptocurrency. Not trading, not looking up YouTube videos of people trading and following what they do. It's risky business doing that. The best thing possible to do is accumulate, is to just stack it away. Because if this market comes to fruition the way that many of us believe it will, many technical leaders, financial leaders believe it will, thanks Ro for the subscribe, then we're going to see some massive gains. And the best possible thing is not to be trading, not to be risking losing this currency, Bitcoin, but it's accumulation. So that's it. That's my thoughts. Appreciate everybody for coming by. You all are awesome. If you're not a subscriber, man, we had some subscribers in this live stream, and I'm very grateful. I'm very appreciative of that. So thank you so much, whoever subscribed during this live stream. Thanks, super chatters like Jiho Wang. Thank you for that subscribe. You all are awesome. We're growing in this space as little mini VCs with the opportunity of a lifetime. We're growing together. We're learning from each other. I'm learning from all of you all the time. DJ Robbie, thank you for the subscribe. So those are my thoughts on the halving. Let me know in the comments below, if you're a replay viewer, what do you think is going to happen? I think we're good to go. I'm excited. And I love recruiting in this space. Seeing all the people, all the engineers from Google, leaders from Facebook coming into the space, trying to join a startup, giving up equity at Google, giving up comp at Google to join a startup in cryptocurrency. These are smart people. These are MIT people. Junie, thank you. Jonathan Shep says XRP. I'm not an XRP fan, Jonathan, but I'm sure XRP will see some massive gains as well. Froki, thank you for the subscribe. So those are my thoughts, everybody. Time for me to go hang out with Sarah on this beautiful Sunday. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate Richard for the subscribe. Thank you, everybody subscribing. You guys are awesome. It just gave me some energy. But look out for the Litecoin halving video posted later tonight. You guys are awesome. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Obviously, we'll be having some fun this week. We'll see what happens. Tracking Bitcoin, tracking Litecoin. Jonathan Shep, thank you again for the question and the super chat. Thank you all for just everything. We'll see you all in the next video, and God bless.